Hello everyone, and welcome to the English Teacher's EDEXCEL GCSE Literature Guide. Today what we're focusing on is the Unit 1 paper, which is Response to Prose, and in this video we're going to concentrate on how to achieve perfect marks A* for your response to the final question of Section A. Very quickly, let's look at the structure of the exam paper to remind ourselves. The actual exam itself is worth half of your total literature grade. The exam is 1 hour 45 minutes, and there are two sections. Section A and B. A has the 4 sub-questions. We've looked at A, which is character, B, which is language, and C, which is theme. In this video, we're focusing on question D, which always looks at the same theme as mentioned in question C. However, you now have to identify one other part of the novel to explore that theme. Section B of the exam is just one essay. You have a choice of 2 questions, and that'll be your other novel from another culture, which is more likely going to be Mice and Men, for instance. Now, here's the question we're going to look at, the final question. It's the most amount of marks. Explore the significance of control in one other part of the novel. Use examples of the writer's language to support your answer. Note it says one other part of the novel, just one. Now, I've got 2 tasks for you. 1, what do you need to do within question D in order to achieve perfect marks? So what's the mark scheme say you need to do? And then task 2, what method are you supposed to be using in order to achieve these perfect marks? Now, pause this very quickly, note down your answer to see how well you've been doing your revision. Let's have a look at this then, shall we? So, question D focuses on both AO1 and AO2, hence the reason why it's worth 12 marks. Question C only looks at AO1, so basically you have to do exactly the same as you would do for question C, but with a little bit more analysis of language, structure and form. So, looking at band 5, which is 11 to 12 marks, it's the same idea. It's the idea of being perceptive. So make sure that you're using integrated quotations, you're using one-words, quotes to just get exactly what you need, which also saves you time as well. But then you also have to come up with ideas which are more intelligent, rather than obvious, more intelligent, and we've looked at that in our previous videos. Your analysis also has to be up to that standard, but you also achieve an extra 3 marks for your spelling, punctuation and grammar only in question D. So you can see, if you're going to get perfect marks for this paper, it's not just enough to answer D exactly as you should do, you also have to get these 3 extra marks for your writing. So make sure that you spell accurately, punctuate accurately, and also use a wide range of specialist terms when required. So you now have to start using words like noun, adjective, metaphor, simile, different types of sentences. They must be in question D. They didn't have to be in any of the other sections, A, B or C. They must be in question D now if you're going to get perfect marks. The planning method is essentially exactly the same method as you would do for question C. The answering is exactly the same as you would do for question C. However, more importance is now placed on your analysis of language, form and structure. My main advice for planning for question D is that you need to pick a section that's going to allow you to analyse the extract you've chosen to the same standard as question C. So basically you need to think of a section which could have been used instead of the extract for question C. Now that's where your revision of the novel is going to be so important. If you don't know the novel well enough, you're going to be struggling to find an extract, which means you're either wasting time or you're going to pick something which isn't as good and you're not going to allow yourself to get perfect marks. Because obviously if your quotes are too basic, if your quotes are too obvious, where's your room to manage perceptive comments? But obviously please pause this if you need to and make sure that you note down the method you require. So let's look at this again. Explore the significance of control in one other part of the novel. Use relevant examples from the writer's language to support your answer. And what I'm going to show you now is actually my response, my planning notes to extract C, because it's exactly the same. It's exactly what you need. All you need to make sure you do is ensure that you've got a couple of extra notes which analyse language to a slightly better standard. The method is exactly the same. It's just you have to pick your own extract. That's the difference. Let's go back to our answer, shall we? And this is what it looks like. Again, this is the response you would have seen for the video to do with question C. However, I've added slightly more analysis of language, form and structure to ensure that I'm achieving those extra marks for AO2. So here is our answer. The first significant presentation and control found in chapter 2 is that Jones had clearly lost control not only of himself but his men. For whole days at a time he would lounge, suggesting that Jones is unable to motivate himself to do anything, let alone care for his animals. Here's a bit of extra AO2. Lounge also suggests that the character is lazy, choosing to rest rather than work, again highlighting a loss of control. Whole days suggests that Jones has lost complete control as he is incapable of doing absolutely anything. As a consequence of this, his men have become idle and dishonest, signifying that his negative control has spread to the actions of his men, showing how loss of personal control spreads. So you can see that a little bit of extra AO2, but my ideas are perceptive as well. They're not so basic, not so obvious. That's how we achieve perfect marks. This lack of control is significant as it allows the animals to gain control of the farm. After being unfed for some time and being neglected, the animals took it upon themselves to seize control, demonstrating that the animals had to take control of the situation or die, suggesting the loss of the farm was due to Jones's loss of control. So there's a perceptive idea, not necessarily animals just took power, it's actually that they had to take it because of the way in which Jones had neglected his control. When a cow broke the door, this symbolises the breaking down of human control and beginning of the animals. Broken also suggests that force has been used in order to gain control, rather than it being relinquished peacefully, showing that control obviously is something forcefully taken. Finally, and as hinted to earlier, it's clear that cruel control leads to the loss of personal control. Jones's evil days not only describes his internal plight, but also highlights the truly cruel control the animals have seen through his lack of feeding them, whilst the pluralisation terminology of day highlights that this form of negative control has lasted for a while. Moreover, the lashing out in all directions at the animals spurs the animals to claim control, therefore signifying the cruel way the men desperately tried to maintain control, seen through all rather than a focused direction. So that idea of trying to claim control by not really knowing where to focus actually helps lead to the uprising. So you can see, if you looked at my video for question C, the answer for D is exactly the same. However, you must make sure that you are analysing language to a slightly better level. That could be with structure as well, could be with form. So the form could be to do with, for instance, setting. It could be to do with who the narrator is, for instance. What's the kind of, where are we looking at a flashback, something like that. It'd be absolutely fine. We also need to make sure we're using terminology. We also need to make sure we're writing accurately if we're going to get those extra 3 marks. And that, essentially, is it. So thank you for watching all 4 of those videos. Here is a link to show you where the past papers are. But that's section A of that exam completely finished. If you want to know how to answer section B, look for my video which talks about how to answer or create an A-star essay, because that's essentially what you need to do. But good luck with your revision, and keep watching and keep revising.